As many of you already know, Lost Ark is nearly here. With a little more than a week left before launch, as of recording this video, many of us are getting ready to jump in by arming ourselves with as much knowledge as possible. But this video is for those of you still on the fence. Hey squad, it's GooberTroy again, and in this video, I want to share 6 big reasons why I'm personally excited for Lost Ark, and why I think you should be too. With the recent updates from Amazon, we finally understand how much content we will have at launch, and oh my god is it going to be a lot. But before we get into it, if you want to see more Lost Ark content in the near future, please consider subscribing to this channel. It really helps a small channel like mine. And with that out of the way, let's go. The first reason to be excited for Lost Ark is, well, it's an already established game. While it's going to be new in the West, Lost Ark released in Korea back in late 2018. The version we are getting is going to be modified from its original release, and by modified, I mean in a good way. The recent January update revealed we would be getting Tier 3 content, which, in Lost Ark terms, tiers are basically expansions. The Tier 3 content is the largest content patch Lost Ark has ever received, which should keep us busy for an extended period of time. Have you ever complained about a game not having enough content? Yeah, I'm looking at you, New World. But the reason getting Tier 3 content is so exciting is because it'll give us long-term goals to work towards. Yes, people are going to be incentivized to rush through Tiers 1 and 2, but there are still time-gating mechanics involved which forces players to still have to play through those tiers. Not all of the Tier 3 content is going to be dropped on us immediately. We're going to have time to work through Tiers 1 and 2 and the parts of Tier 3, so basically what they're doing is just introducing the foundation for Tier 3 and then they'll drip feed us the content later. So basically, if you're worried about a content drought, yeah, that's just not going to happen. But moving along, for our second reason for excitement, challenging raids. Who doesn't love getting a group of friends together to tackle some tough fights? With Lost Ark's raids, you will be able to group up with between 4 and 8 players depending on the raid to tackle some demonic forces and giant creatures. These raid sizes are perfect in my opinion because it makes things like raid management feel a little bit less of a chore. Some of these raids, Guardian raids specifically, will feel more akin to Monster Hunter fights. Your party has 3 shared deaths before the raid ends, there's no boss health bar, and bosses go through different phases similar to Enrages in Monster Hunter. Legion raids are more traditional and similar to raid bosses in World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV. You'll enter the fight against a boss where you push through different phases and deal with new mechanics as the boss's health drops. And for our third reason, we have PvP. This is my personal favorite aspect of the game because the combat feels more like a fighting game than your typical MMO PvP gameplay. The gameplay is very fast paced and there are dozens of combo paths and routes to learn, which, if you're into that sort of thing like myself, really adds a lot of depth. In all honesty, it's almost like you're playing Tekken or something, but you'll be able to play several different types of PvP content, from more open world like content to arena based. For the open world PvP, this content does not scale your gear. You can delete others or get deleted by someone who has better gear and more skill points than you. So there is a little element of pay to win involved in that aspect. However, the arena based PvP is where a lot of the action happens. These arenas scale your gear and levels so everything is equalized. You'll be able to enter arenas starting around level 26 once you get to the first major city. So if you're an arena nut like myself, all you have to do is level several characters to 26 and then you can start queuing those level 26 characters against level 50s and everything is just scaled. It's so easy to enter arenas. So in these arenas, you have a few types of content available between 3v3 team deathmatch, where you fight to get as many kills as possible. There's a free-for-all mode, and lastly, there's a mode called Last Team Standing, which is more of a 1v1 King of the Hill type fighting. The only ranked mode is 3v3 team deathmatch, and you must solo queue for that, while you can group up with friends to do normal types of PvP in arenas. For our fourth reason to be excited, have you ever played an MMO that just seemed almost predatory for your time? A game that if you want to be up to date, you have to play every single day grinding the necessary materials? Well, Lost Ark unfortunately does have that. There is, however, a system in place to help alleviate that need to play every single day. Basically, if you don't do your chores for a day, you get a stacking rested bar, and whenever you clear some content which rewards upgrade materials or gold or whatever, it consumes a portion of that rested bonus meter to award you with bonus materials. I really like this system because if one day I'm not feeling it and maybe want to check out another game or something, I have a way to recoup some of my losses for not doing the chores every single day. This system instantly makes the game feel more player friendly in my opinion. Lost Ark, like many games, has its faults. What makes a game great is how the developer responds to criticisms around their game. At this year's Loa On, Lost Ark's big annual event, Smilegate the developer talked about future plans for their game, of course. What really stood out to me in this event is that the company actually spoke about the things they believe they did wrong this year and need to improve on. They talked about that first thing on the presentation. For example, they know that raids have a ton of raid wipe mechanics, which has shown to be exhausting for the player base. Even though this was put in place to reduce the rate of carries, it's something they plan on changing in the future to reduce burnout. There are many quality of life changes that are being implemented, and some of these changes are requested by the community even. One example of this is the addition of a pure 1v1 PvP game mode. During the Q&A, a viewer asked if this mode could be added, and the response was simply, yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. It's great to see when a developer adds little bits of requested content or tweaks things here and there to ensure the player base is happy. And lastly, our final reason why you should be excited for Lost Ark, it's because this game is not pay to win. I made a video discussing this topic already, which would be pretty cool if you would check out, but to summarize my video, the game has real money transactions for upgrade materials. This, to some, might be considered pay to win, but it's important to understand how the content is gated in Lost Ark. In order to even enter some raids, you need a certain gear score, but once you enter, your gear and stats are all scaled to a certain point. This means you're paying to access content faster, but when you actually enter the content, your gear, no matter how much you've paid, isn't going to automatically make you win. You still need to learn mechanics, and many fights have raid wiping mechanics where one person messing up causes everyone to wipe. This is true for PvP as well. The arena-based PvP has all your gear scaled, so once again, having the best gear possible isn't going to affect your performance at all. Now, kind of like I mentioned in PvP, there's also the open world stuff. That stuff is pay to win, yes, and there's also some PvE content that might be pay to win, but for the most part, that gear, or that content rather, isn't really relevant in the grand scheme of things. In summary, Lost Ark is a game with so much potential. I've been looking for a game to spend a lot of my time in, and I can say that after playing more than 300 hours on the Russian server simply playing PvP, I still haven't gotten bored. I've barely scratched the surface of this game and have all intentions of playing every form of content the game has to offer on release. It's a game that I truly believe will captivate a large audience in the West, one that MMO fans have been waiting for. As one last note, I've started streaming on this YouTube channel on Fridays or Saturdays starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you have any questions about Lost Ark or just simply want to hang out, I'd be happy to talk with you there. I truly look forward to playing this game and hope you all do too. But this was GooberTroy once again saying thank you for watching, and remember to squad up and have fun.